Your father's story. Describe your dad, my grandfather. Did he have any funny habits? Michael Ronald Cruikshank. Mike. Describe him. um, just a little bit on the taller side, 5'10" so, 5'10" or so. Um, Healthy, active, loved to golf. Um, uh, he was raised in a Catholic family, and when Vatican II happened and you could now start eating meat on Friday, made him question his faith because that had been a very important rule and now it was a rule no more. So, how could any of it be real? In um, being a salesman, he was exposed to a lot of drinking and it became a problem later in his life. I don't know how much it was a problem as he was an adult, but as he got older, it became a problem. And then my mom pushed hard to get him into recovery, and it didn't work. And she pushed hard to get him in recovery, and it took. And it changed his life. And I'm so proud of what he did in recovery and who he was in recovery and how he treated other people. I always loved him, but there was a lot of hurt when he was an alcoholic. When he was a recovering alcoholic, he was very open and accepting and at peace and formed a strong relationship with God and spirituality and found Westbridge Church and got my mom to go. And she had been missing church in her life. And together they volunteered to help other families and ran sessions and stuff. And he was a greeter at Westbridge Church. He would wave out front to welcome people in, and he was very proud of that and would do that even in Minnesota winters. And then my mom would drive and show up later to actually attend the Mass, the church that they had. He was competitive and confident. He was smart. He was funny. Um, he was very proud of me, and especially in recovery, uh, I think felt very blessed by me and my family, and loved being a grandpa, and had such a special relationship with his granddaughter Tori. He unfortunately never met his grandson Nathan, but Nathan bears his name, Nathan Michael Cruikshank. He was competitive. Um, his siblings remember playing Monopoly with him, and he was losing, and he had been the race car. And before he ran away in frustration, he took the race car and he dug it into the cardboard of the Monopoly board and left little tracks. And apparently, that's still there at the Cruikshank farm, the Cruikshank family house, supposedly. It might be gone now. Competitive. The famous story between my mother and dad. We were all playing some silly board game together. It was like Balderdash, just creative and goofy. And he was being very competitive. And my mom was very upset that people weren't all having a good time, whatever. She was trying to manage the situation so that everybody had a good time. And she yelled at him basically, um, why can't we just have fun? And he retorted, winning is fun. That is the most Mike and Chris conversation ever, basically. Yeah, he was competitive. He was a salesman. Then he was a marketing manager at GE Plastics. Then he was at Granite Gear. He took his money that he had earned and invested it into Granite Gear and became their like marketing guy. He worked from home, kind of to his detriment because he kind of became an alcoholic during that time. But recovery was amazing for him. And he lived, I think, 15 years of his life as a recovering alcoholic. And those were great years. He came to visit us often. He would say, when can I come visit Tori? And, or you guys too. He loved being a grandpa. He got to enjoy almost 5 years with Tori. Um, he passed 2 days before her fifth birthday, and that was very hard for me. Um, so I miss him a lot. Um, he, being competitive, when I was taking practice PSAT tests, so like these standardized tests where they give you a workbook and you work on it at home and grade yourself and whatever. My parents decided that they wanted to do it too, to like share in the experience. And I believe my dad got a perfect score on the math and missed a couple on the English, and my mom got a perfect English and missed a couple on the math. So they were very competitive with each other too. Um, he super confident. I'm going to use a bad phrase, but here we go. He would say, "That shit doesn't happen to me." When my mom would worry about bad things, he would say, "That shit doesn't happen to me." And by and large, it didn't. He had kind of a charmed life. Um, he had challenges for sure, but he was confident that he would overcome them, and he did. Other than alcoholism, which he eventually did overcome. Um, he loved to golf. Partly out of the competition of it, he was um, very proud of the fact that he had won enough money and golf clubs and stuff that he was able to trade for other golf clubs, such that his supply of golf clubs were all from winnings rather than having to spend the family's money on that. He he loved his siblings. He loved his parents. He talked about his mom, saying, "If you look in the dictionary under the word love, there's a picture of my mom there." And he talked about his dad, Archie. He said, "As I got older, I realized that my dad was not as smart as I was, basically." Those weren't his exact words, but as I got older, he didn't feel like the gap between him and his dad was so wide that he was about as smart as his dad. And then as he got older, he realized the deep, deep wisdom that his dad had, and he gained a lot of respect for it as he got older. So he kind of had that cocky, you know, teenage arrogance, thinking he could do anything, and his dad's not so smart. And then he realized his dad's wisdom as he got older. He loved my mom. He tried to support her in his own way. Um, it was hard for them. She had a lot of issues, and he was very supportive, and she was very supportive back, and she loved him. So that's a little bit about my dad, Michael Ronald Cruikshank.